Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Arsenal have had a bid rejected by Real Sociedad for Merino. However, we are going to go back with a second bid. Arsenal are also preparing to bid for Victor Gyökeres as time is running out. The two players are expected to be at least the last two entries this summer. We're going to talk about Edin Ketia. We're going to talk about the new goalkeeper, as Arsenal have now received a couple of offers for Aaron Ramsdale, and it's now very likely that Joan Garcia will be Arsenal's second choice goalkeeper next season. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Interesting stuff going on the market. Arsenal have woken up late. We have started making bids on the players we want to bring in. Hopefully time doesn't actually get in the way. It is very difficult to do deals with Premier League teams, especially at the beginning of the Premier League season. But the good thing is that we want players out of the Premier League, and that could be the real advantage. Now, David Ornstein has just broken the story that Arsenal have made a bid for Merino, and that bid has been rejected. Fabrizio has confirmed that talks have been going on with Real Sociedad for weeks, and he says the first bid being rejected was just a formal step, one of the steps that were expected to be taken. Arsenal are going to go back in with a second bid for Merino, and they think they will be getting closer and closer to the valuation with Real Sociedad. Now, the two clubs already have in mind a picture and a structure of what should be done. However, Arsenal are making bids that are annoying Real Sociedad. Personally, I don't understand what's going on. If you've had talks for weeks, you definitely know what the other club wants. You definitely know, they also know what you want and what you want to pay. I don't understand this all, facade of making bids as they are rejected while you've been talking to another club for weeks. It just doesn't make any sense. If Arsenal had just gone into negotiations with Real Sociedad yesterday and made a bid today, and that bid is rejected, well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's your opening offer. But Arsenal have been in talks with Real Sociedad. They know Sociedad are not going to accept anything around 25. They know that Sociedad are willing to listen to offers around 30 to 35. And somehow we have made a bid and it has been rejected. This is absolutely wasting time. For me, what I want to say is this. The reason as to why Arsenal have not left negotiations with Real Sociedad is simple and very easy. We have not left negotiations because we believe we can match their expectations, right? And right from the start, Fabrizio said Real Sociedad are very confident in Arsenal that they will match their expectations for the player. And that's the reason as to why we're there. That's the reason as to why, the deal is still on. Because we know we can match their expectations, and they know we can match, they know we can match their expectations. So they're not going, it's not a wastage of time for any parties. Why I don't like this strategy of bid, then bid rejected, then bid again. July, June, that's okay. You can do that. But in August, you cannot be making bids for a 30 million euro guy who's got 1 year left on his deal, and they're being rejected. We have a lot of a lot of things to do. I'm preparing my video for the Arsenal preview, season preview, and I'm looking at Arsenal winning 2 trophies in that season. I'm looking at Arsenal, scoring more goals than ever, conceding less goals than ever. How are we going to do that if we are still, haggling and bargaining on a few pennies for players? So Merino, first bid rejected. Arsenal expected to go back in. I think the second one is going to be the last one. Now, I usually don't want to say this, but if Arsenal do a second bid and it is rejected, we are just disgracing ourselves. We're just embarrassing ourselves. We're just making a fool out of ourselves. Honestly, the guy is 30 million euros. Make of that information whatever you want. But what I want to say is 30 million euros right now for Arsenal, that should be an easy deal to do. That's around 25 million pounds, around 26 million pounds. Go and pay that money, and let's move over to other targets. There is a big possibility that we will sign a goalkeeper, and there is a big possibility that that deal for a new goalkeeper is going to take some time. Arsenal want to sign Joan Garcia as the replacement. his release clause is 21 million euros. Arsenal's initial valuation of the player is 12 million. So you can see the difference there. You're going to take a lot of time negotiating with Espanyol, and nevertheless, you're going to take their best goalkeeper at the beginning of the season. So you're not giving them a lot of time to replace him. So that is not going to be an easy deal. So why don't we do the easy deals first and then do the difficult deals later? But again, for me, the Mikel Merino deal, I expect it to be done, and I expect that it's going to be the spark of an Arsenal transfer summer, which will be like 1 week and a half or even 2 weeks, where we'll see around 2 arrivals and 3 departures. I think I expected 4 more players apart from Ricardo Calafiori and David Raya. I think that's a little bit overrated now. I don't think within the frame of time we can actually go and accomplish that. I don't think. So it's going to be around 2. I think it might be a maximum of 3: goalkeeper, striker, and Merino. There is a possibility that we don't even get a striker. There is that possibility. Even if Eddie leaves, Arsenal might not have the time to complete the Gyökeres deal. You know, this kind of deals where you have the player failing to sign for you because of paperwork or because of late for medicals or registered late. That kind of deal, that could be the Gyökeres deal. So we've got to act faster, and we've got to act now. Time is not our best ally. But anyway, there is progress. We have made a bid, and it has been rejected. And Arsenal are not giving up. They're preparing to go again. Now, Arsenal are also expected to make a bid for Victor Gyökeres very, very soon. And with Victor Gyökeres, I don't know whether it purely depends on Edin Nketiah, because if it purely depends on Edin Nketiah, then that is not soon. It is not very, very close. It is not coming tomorrow. I've seen a few sources saying that Edin Nketiah could be wanted by Leicester City, and that's why I've added him on this list, last minute, because I've seen Bournemouth, I've seen Brentford, I've seen Leicester City as the latest. We're going to talk about him. But with Victor Gyökeres, if Arsenal want to sign him, time is going to be crucial. Speed, urgency, and agility are going to be crucial. Imagine if you agree a deal with the player, you agree a deal with the club, but you cannot register that transfer. That will hurt. Actually, for me, Gyökeres should have been the priority signing. It should have been the first signing we made 2 months ago, not right about now. So Arsenal planning to sign Victor Gyökeres. We have been told that Arsenal fear FFP. That is according to Fabrizio. But we have also been told by slightly more credible financial accounts that Arsenal don't have FFP problems. They can even splash 150 million right now if they want it. They just don't want to. They want to stay in the right limits of FFP. And of course, you've got to agree, because Man City find themselves in a situation right now where they can get relegated. Imagine winning the Champions League about 2 years ago, and then winning 4 Premier League titles in the last 4 seasons, and then you get relegated because of the 115 charges. So it might not be a position Arsenal want to put themselves into, and I appreciate that. However, in order for us to compete, we've got to take some risks. So Gyökeres, this one could depend on Edin Nketiah. So keep your eyes open on the Edin Nketiah situation. Now today, Leicester City are the latest club to register their interest in Edin Nketiah, and it's like they've had me. I remember talking to Glenn on the Glenn and Cossy podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about where could Eddie go, where could Rhys Nelson go, where could Albert Sambi-Lokonga go, and I told him Leicester City should take 1 or 2 or 3 of the players Arsenal are letting go. I think Jamie Vardy is a big loss for them in terms of his pace, his legs, and he's no longer the player he was, right? Patson Daka, I think Patson Daka is a failed project, in my opinion. I've never seen him as a less of a talent. I've always valued him. I've always kept him, seen him among my top books in the library. But I just feel like he has not achieved what I expected. And also, it could be because by the time, Leicester City signed him, they were making so many good signings during that period of time. They had Inaicho from Manchester City. They had Vardy. They had Yuri Telemans. They were making so many good signings, and they were working, and they were a team in progress. So Eddie Nketiah could be a good prospect at Leicester City. One, they offer him a chance to play in the Premier League. Two, they offer him a chance to stay inside the country rather than flying out. But the only problem I have with Leicester is they look like a team going down. They really look like a team going down. The manager there, I don't trust him. I really don't. Can they pay up to 30 million euros for Eddie Nketiah? That's a big question. It also depends on how much the manager trusts. Oh my God. It depends. If he trusts Eddie Nketiah more than Patson Daka, I think they could splash that money. But if he trusts Patson Daka more than he would trust Eddie Nketiah, then I don't see them give us 25 million euros. However, because there is Bournemouth and Brentford and Leicester, we might have a mini bidding war. Maybe not a bidding war, but something tilted to that end. So we might see Arsenal sitting back and enjoying, a few punches, a few shots fired, and then, a few men down. So let's wait and see whether Leicester City will consolidate their interest. At the moment, it's still about, we want him, we would love to sign him, we would love to get him, but there is nothing really there. Honestly, there is nothing really there. So I'd love to see whether Leicester City make it serious. Among the serious things today is the Victor Gyökeres, not Victor Gyökeres, but the Aaron Ramsdale pursuit. Apart from Ajax, 3 more clubs from the Premier League are registering real interest, serious interest in signing Aaron Ramsdale. And those 3 clubs are Wolverhampton Wanderers, I'm just forgetting the other, Nottingham Forest, and Southampton. We've talked about Southampton before. And it looks like as the market goes, as the market runs down, we might be looking at Ramsdale leaving rather than staying. So with all these clubs interested, Arsenal are saying, we want a permanent deal. We have a replacement already lined up, but we have to get a permanent leave for Ramsdale. Now, my fear on this deal is this: 1 week and a half to the end of the window, or 2 weeks to the end of the window, many clubs are going to be hesitant and reluctant to give us the money we want in Ramsdale. But I'm afraid that as the market closes down, a certain team is going to be afraid and panic that they have not done good business, and then try to balance their transfer, madness by signing Aaron Ramsdale. So if Arsenal are 100% sure that he has to leave on a permanent deal, and we are also sure that if he leaves, the player that comes in is going to be, if he leaves, the player that's going to come in is going to be Joan Garcia, then do we not need to sign Garcia a little bit earlier? I mean, it's risky, because if you sign Garcia now and Ramsdale stays, Garcia becomes a third choice goalkeeper. But again, I can't, and that's a problem, because again, Ramsdale's value is just going to drop. So I will still stick to my point. Let Ramsdale go on loan. Let us get around maybe 2 million, 3 million, a loan fee, with an option to buy. Why I don't want Ramsdale to have an obligation to buy in his contract is most of the clubs that are going to take him are going to play him. And he's going to do well, and his value is going to go up. Like, if there's one player that I know, his value is going to go up, it's Ramsdale. Ramsdale's value has only gone down because he has been on the bench. And I want him to go to a club that doesn't look to be relegation threatened. I'm talking about Wolves. Because when I think about Wolves, I think about the manager there, O'Neill. O'Neill, yes, he loves to play out from the back, but not that heavy playing out from the back. So I think Ramsdale can thrive there. So if you give him to a club like Wolves and they take him, Wolves can keep him for like the next 10 years. That's number one. And secondly, they can pay his wages. Thirdly, he can also become England number one while playing for Wolves, just like Pickford has done it for Everton. For me, it's a deal that makes a lot of sense. Premier League team not getting relegated. They will be paying the money if his contract, if his level comes back up, right? If you give them Ramsdale and it saves them a few points, it saves them a few defeats, trust me, they're going to come running and rushing and saying, can we give you that 30 million euros you are asking for after one season? So for me, Ram on loan, it's a very, very perfect scenario. It's a very, very perfect deal for us. Absolutely.